week's Throwdown, Kylie demos the workout.
We've got overhead squats, chest-to-bar pull-ups, power snatches, and handstand push-ups.
We release these workouts right here on YouTube every Thursday at 1 p.m.
Join our entire community to practice the skill of competing.
Use the next 2 days to plan a strategy, grab some friends, and throw down on Saturday.
See where you stack up each week on our Throwdown leaderboard. It's free to sign up. Go to trainingthinktank.com/throwdown.
This week's Throwdown is a 12-minute AMRAP. Starts with 30 overhead squats, 50 chest-to-bar pull-ups, 30 power snatches, 50 kipping handstand push-ups. If you get through it in 12 minutes, start all over.
For the overhead squats, make sure that your hip crease comes below your knee and that you come to full extension at the top of each rep. For the chest-to-bar pull-ups, make sure that you're at full extension at the bottom and that your chest touches the bar below the collarbone on each rep. For the power snatches, you can do them any way that you'd like, but make sure you come to full extension at the top. And for the handstand push-ups, this is the one different standard, 36 by 24-inch box. Feet must come together at the top of each rep, and you have a straight body line.
Some context, Kylie as an athlete is a sanctional level team athlete. She's on the smaller end of the athlete spectrum, so she's better at the body weight based movements and gymnastics. What else we got?
We have all kinds of things because that's what we do for a living. This week in the classroom, you're doing something special.
Yeah, so I have a goal setting for coaches series that just came out. It was released on Tuesday. And then for the Throwdown, that'd be an awkward segue, but we want to get people on the leaderboard. The leaderboard's been pretty cool to watch and see people actually post their scores and see kind of what distribution we have of scores from the elite.
See how far down you are. That's the best part.
From the elite down to me and then down to people behind me as well, because I'm not taking last on every workout.
So the 5 or 6 that are behind Max, I'm sorry.
All right, these haters, get on the leaderboard and join us for the Throwdown.
Let's go see Kylie's strategy.
My strategy for the first 30 overhead squats is going to be 15 and 15, or maybe like a 16-14. Try not to break it into more than 2 or 3 sets. And then once I get to the chest to bar, I'll probably try to hold sets of 8 and then 2 sets of 5 at the end. If I start to feel fatigued, I'm going to go down to 5s just to kind of save my grip for the snatches. Snatches are just going to be singles. We're going to try to time the rest break between each rep to about 5 or 6 seconds. And handstand push-ups, I'm going to kind of go by feel. That's going to be like my strength on this Metcon, so I'll go by feel on that part. So hopefully like more than like 5s or 6s at a time. And then try to get back into the overhead squats.
Ooh, like the false start and the stand back up, that was perfect.
Psych.
Good job.
I think I false start every workout that we do on site. That's
You
not
definitely
a Throwdown.
do because
You start bending.
your barbell's at your knee when the clock goes. I always
Hey,
notice
let's
it.
talk about the demo here and not criticize me.
Good movement speed to start. The bar's a little sideways, so maybe some asymmetries there. But I think one of the things with overhead squats, especially going to the chest to bars for me, is like I want to get a big chunk out of the way and move fast so there's less time under tension.
Yeah, I think that's something to really take into consideration with this movement specifically because balance plays such a big role that if you can do your reps quickly, it's better than doing big chunks of unbroken sets if you're doing long pauses at the top
sure.
and not actually squatting quickly. So she seemed to, I think she did 10-10.
I think that's a
lost
smart
count.
break.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Did she do 10-10?
I'm not sure. That's what you
I
said.
lost count.
I mean, this is at that load where it's just heavy enough that you can't move it like if it was 95-65 or something like that. So for me, 145 for the guys is definitely challenging.
I think this is one of those introductions to a workout where you're not going to win here, but you can mess yourself up. So Brandon might disagree with me on this, but it might be smarter to break 1 or 2 more times just to...
Yeah, so it took her a minute 17 to get through it. I'd say if you're like really flying in 2 sets, maybe like a minute to get through that. And then if you got finished at like 145, I think that 15 seconds could definitely be made up in the power snatches and the chest to bars and the handstand push-ups. So I agree with you. Brandon, you want to disagree?
Mia, I would never disagree with you.
Thanks, Brandon.
You're right. There's definitely a lot of ways to skin the cat. I think that for those that are really comfortable with their overhead position where it doesn't affect your chest to bars, then having at least 1 big set to start and then smaller chunks for the overhead squats probably makes sense.
The phrase skin the cat is a really sick thing.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what it means, to be honest.
Yeah, like why are people skinning cats?
Can we talk about her chest to bars? I think Kylie does a really good job, not just in this workout, but any gymnastics workout, of breaking things up often and taking short rest breaks and getting back onto the bar or onto the handstand push-ups, whatever it is. She's a pretty good example of that.
Yeah, her fluidity and just overall gymnastics is pretty solid as well, and this is just a strength for her. I think all the gymnastics movements.
And this is something we talk about all the time too, of like, you don't have to do big sets. I know I just said that on the overhead squats. If you're good at them, sure, you could do big sets on anything, but it's total rest time that really makes the big difference here. So if you can do small sets with shorter rest times overall, then obviously you're ahead of the clock.
Yeah, so I think she'll definitely have another set to go. I'd like to be able to count what the rest time is like.
She had 5 reps there.
So 49, down to 249, and up at...
Yeah, I mean, she's looking at the clock, so she's aware where she's at.
So that's 11-second rest break. I think that's pretty fast for a set of 50 chest to bars to go through, because at some point that movement just starts to break down. I know I try to adhere to 20 seconds when I'm really messed up. Brandon says that's super slow. Mia says that's super slow. I'm gonna watch all of Mia's workouts right now, and when she goes over 20-second rest break, I'm like, you're going slow.
I think to keep in mind too, Kylie's done quite a few chest to bars and some other things over the last week. I just watched her training, so probably a little bit of fatigue. Usually, like, her rest breaks are really tight with chest to bars. It's probably 5 seconds in sets of 5 or something like that.
Yeah, well, these rest breaks now, as she's doing smaller sets, are way quicker.
Yeah.
So she's done at 3:45. She finished the first set at 1:17, so that's 2 minutes and 30 seconds for 50 chest to bars. That's like about 20 reps a minute, or a little bit less than 20 reps a minute. That's pretty solid.
10-second transition.
Yeah, this I think is going to be the bulk of the workout for most people. It's basically like doing heavy Isabel in the middle of the workout, and I think the strategy of going on a 5-second clock or on an 8-second clock, still gonna take you like over 3 to 4 minutes to get through that piece here. So if you could do a big touch and go unbroken set, most of your grip stuff's out of the way now that you did the chest to bar, so you don't need to be as worried about your grip failing, moving from there to handstand push-ups. But this seems like the highest power output in the workout.
Are you gonna do a big unbroken set to open?
I think I'm probably gonna do the whole workout unbroken. Yeah.
He's world class. People have heard me say this before, but I really like cluster style sets with power snatches or any kind of pulling off the ground. So the way I would look at this is like, I'm gonna do 5 really fast singles and then take a longer break. 5 really fast singles, take a longer break. So basically it's like I'm standing at the bar, I'm not stepping back at all. I'm just dropping the bar and then picking it up, so on and so forth. And then maybe my 10 or 15-second break after the 5.
Yeah, I really like that. I mean, I'm not as good at actually executing on that, but doing like 3 fast reps on a 3-second clock and then taking a longer break or something like that actually allows you to get a lot more work done quickly. You don't realize how much those just, like, if I'm going on the 10-second clock and you do 10 touch and go, you're falling 8 reps behind immediately, and you have like 45 seconds left of time just to try to catch up to where they are from one unbroken set. So it can play a big role.
I think psychologically for me too, like, I like setting almost micro goals in a workout. So like, hey, it's only 5 right now. And then I can think about the next one. Okay, it's only 5.
What are you gonna do in this workout, Mia?
So with barbell cycling, I actually like going on a clock, which is the opposite of what you guys said. I'm not sure, I'd have to play around with it to see what kind of clock would make sense for me, but I would think on the like 5 or 6 seconds would be realistic. And I like just staring at the clock, and at 4 seconds I start putting my hands on the bar, and that usually works really well for me.
So you want to be completed with the reps on a 6-second clock, so you'll actually start lifting it on 4 seconds if you're trying to finish on 6?
Well,
what?
No, because if you go 0 to 6 seconds, yeah.
You want to be done with that rep by 6 seconds. Yeah. Okay. Or like starting the next rep.
Complete a rep every 6 seconds.
Okay.
Don't make it complicated.
Now that we've confused our audience. Another thing too, as we kind of start qualifiers back up in the fall or whenever things are going to open back up for us, I always tell people to think about the weight selection as far as what types of plates they're using. So you can see this bar's kind of bouncing all over the place. And sometimes it's hard, like if that's all you have. But we also have some dead bumper plates that literally you drop and they just stay right there. When you're trying to go fast singles or even on a clock, you don't have to move around as much with kind of those dead bumpers.
Yeah,
that makes a huge difference.
Yeah, for sure. Her rest breaks between, I don't think, make a difference for this specific workout, because she's like the bar is completely settled by the time she's picking it up. But if you are going fast singles, that's just a nightmare to manage because the bars ends up like sideways, your grip is off, you need to literally move to get in the right position to lift the bar.
Any of those like small things that you can do that are just like, it's free, you know, money free, so to speak.
Free money.
Yeah.
Another thing you could think about on a piece like this is working on setting both hands on the bar at the same time. One, it saves time. Two, it saves that time where you're bent over. I know for me, with barbell cycling, it's usually my back that starts to blow up, and if I take longer to set up, that makes it a lot worse. So getting used to putting both hands on the bar at the same time, it takes practice, and it's going to feel weird at first, but if you are going through qualifiers, then that's a good skill to have.
Yeah, this dynamic start setup, it's something that like I know Noah does pretty frequently, like one hand on, other hand on with the hips high and then lower and get tension and go. Whereas somebody like Trav just kind of like sits into his squat without really setting his upper back and grabs the bar and goes. You can save like half a second to a second every rep by doing that. If you get used to it. If you don't get used to it, you just end up in like a really bad position and you end up getting pulled forward and your footwork's off. But if it's something you can practice for speed ladders or something like Isabel or this type of a format, and then have a separate setup for when you're doing things that are like above 70% of your 1 rep max where you need to be more technical.
Yeah, Travis does such a good job at that. I would say like go on YouTube and watch him set up for different lifts, because if he's doing a 1 rep max, he does set up. He has a little bit of a dynamic start, but when he's doing like a speed ladder, like you said, it's really impressive to see that he still has tension in his back. It's just like he's almost folded over.
Yeah.
It's insane
It's
how
very
strong he is in that
interesting
position.
that you could just like run up to the bar, grab it, and go.
Yeah.
All right, so we got to be coming up on the end of these snatches. She started this, I think, at 3:45, right?
Yep.
So
a little
we're
over
at 9
5
minutes.
minutes.
Yeah, a little over 5 minutes, 5:15 to do those. So a little slower than what something like Isabel might be, but I think that's probably normal. And I think that's probably something to take into consideration as you plan and strategize this workout. You could probably take a little bit more time on the overhead squats and chest to bars, knowing that that's probably going to be a big time separator for people.
Yeah, I totally agree. This, I think she knew too, like the handstand push-ups are probably gonna be a win for her because she has good handstand push-ups. You can see the range of motion's a little bit shorter than maybe a taller athlete. And with this standard where it's a 36-inch wide box, like she can really widen her hands out.
Yeah, it's a much, much, much less range of motion and a big benefit to be able to do that.
Yeah, how's that for you, Mia? Is that box a little bit more
I
narrow?
feel like a big person in a little box. But
You know,
I've gotten used to it. I like handstand push-ups if I can kip.
I don't think that even if I could go as wide as I wanted, that I would want to go any wider than the 36-inch
I
box.
agree.
I feel like I would just fall on my head.
I definitely would.
You would?
Yeah.
You think you'd be able to
If
press
there's
up?
no box, I will, like, I always draw a box for myself because naturally I will put my hands wider. So
I
By a
actually
lot?
like it narrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that's narrow for me because I'm still like outside my shoulders, but I feel like if I went much wider than that, I'm not going to be able to press up. It's just a weird position.
So just like the chest bars, I think she's doing a pretty good job with her rest breaks, keeping the set small. I think she could probably, and something that those that have a really good pressing or good pressing endurance, they could probably shorten their kip. So like if you watch someone like Will Morad, we've talked about his pressing before. It's like just, I mean, he does 50
Super
unbroken
fast.
strict handstand push-ups. So obviously it's world class, but it's like a small dip with his knees, and then he's almost doing a pseudo strict handstand push-up. But the turnover rate on those is probably half a second faster per rep.
Yeah, I think if you can do that and you can not pause at the top, I mean, other than that, I mean, she's pretty good at these, and these rest breaks are really, really quick. So relative to most people, she's going to get through this a lot faster.
For sure.
But if you're like trying to get to a sanctional, and that's something that you need to be mindful of, I think the standard too at the top of making sure that you pull your feet together and inside your hip line is going to be way different than if you could just leave your feet at hip width or out wider. I think you can cycle those faster, so this will probably slow everyone down, but I still think there might be a little bit of room for improvement with regards to that like slight pause at the top. Ooh, we have a little camera move there.
Chris, what are you
lost
doing?
His balance.
He tripped
Fell
over.
over something.
No, my stabilizer.
Still, these rest breaks are 8 seconds every single time, which for handstand push-ups is really
That's
good. I
pretty
mean,
good,
yeah,
yeah.
once you start kind of fatiguing, it's tough to get back up.
Yeah, so we're coming to the end of the 12 minutes, 10 seconds. She
Still
looks
touching
like
her
she's-
toes at the top.
She
Will
looks
she
like she's
finish?
sprinting,
Get up there!
and she's done.
Boom. Great job,
One
Kylie.
round, 12 minutes. Good work. See if Mia can beat this on Saturday.
She's fast at this stuff.
Project Pat, take it away.
It's a wrap, you know what I'm saying? Your boy Project Pata in this thing, man. Hey, look, man, thank y'all for watching Training Think Tank's YouTube channel. Y'all hit that motherfucking subscribe button, you know what I'm saying? So y'all go ahead, man. Thank y'all for watching the channel, you know what I'm saying? Hit that motherfucking subscribe button, let it be known, what it be known, what it be known, you know what I'm saying? Pata.